Have you ever noticed how your identity shifts depending on who you spend your time with? When you surround yourself with quiet people, you naturally become the loud one. When you surround yourself with more outgoing and louder people, you become the quiet one. It's so interesting how much our sense of self is defined not in isolation, but in comparison to those around us. And why is that? Our identity is like a mirror reflecting characteristics of those around us. You learn who you are through comparison. If you're constantly surrounded by loud voices, you might see yourself as a more reserved individual, even if you're naturally extroverted. But if you're surrounded by quiet people, your talkative side might come out more. If you constantly surround yourself with loud people, if you're maybe naturally a more quieter person, you do become slightly louder over time because that becomes your new norm, right? And maybe you don't become as loud as them ever, but you definitely become louder than your past self, which is still a shift. You learn who you are through comparison. It's like your personality is in constant dialogue with your surroundings. So if you were the only person in this world, how well do you think you'd know yourself? Because I think without having anyone to compare yourself to, the boundaries of our identity would feel a little fuzzy. So a lot of what we know about ourselves comes from how much we interact with other people and seeing similarities and differences and how we stand out from the others. That's why who you surround yourself with deeply matters. It's not just about relationships or friendships or love. It's about personal evolution and the impact it has on our identity. When you surround yourself with people that challenge you or expose you to new ways of thinking, that's when you grow. But if you're constantly in a company that mirrors your insecurities or limits your potential in any way, you stay stuck. The truth is, most people don't progress unless they're mentally strong. Let's be honest, the average person tends to seek comfort over growth. It's not that we don't want to grow, it's just that often growth feels uncomfortable and comfort is addicting. When you lack confidence in a certain area like strength or intelligence, you gravitate towards people that don't challenge you in that space. If you don't feel smart, you might surround yourself with people who don't push those intellectual boundaries. It's much easier to feel safe in those relationships because there's no discomfort and no risk of being outshined. But here's the danger. As soothing and calming that comfort might be, it is not a space for growth. You will stay the same person that you are today for years and years and years if no one pushes those boundaries of yours or no one helps you expand your horizons. People who want to become better leaders, better speakers, more knowledgeable thinkers, they take risks. These people willingly put themselves in situations where they're either the weakest or the least experienced in the room. Why? Because growth happens when you aren't the best. It's uncomfortable, but it's crucial. Like, who can you actually learn from if you constantly surround yourself by equally skilled or less skilled people? So instead of seeing it as a threat, view it as an opportunity. You know, when someone's much greater at something than you, see it as a space for you to grow and learn from. I feel like it's such a great mindset to also deal with jealousy. Like, instead of envying someone for how good they are at something, use them as inspiration and motivation for yourself. Like, always see how it will benefit you in the end if you surround yourself with constantly successful people or constantly intelligent people. Jealousy fades the minute you see other people's achievements as lessons over threat. And they were exactly where you are today. You know, they were also beginners at something, going through the same challenges and struggles as you, and that's how they got to where they are now. So as long as you remind yourself that and see them as a role model over someone that you want to be, that's also going to be far healthier for your mental state. You might say, Melissa, I don't have friends like that. I don't have people to push me to grow. And that's okay. Not everyone has a network of super powerful, high achievers, successful people, right? It's not about abandoning your current friends, it's about shifting how you interact with them. So usually I don't like the idea that you are who you surround yourself with, because that is usually used to lead people to change their friendship groups, their circles. And how realistically are people going to do that? They're not, because people like to keep the same friends that they've had for years. You know, that's the whole point of friendships, that they're long-term relationships that you've built over time. And so my point is, I think it's more realistic to change how you interact with those people and what you talk about with them over changing and replacing the actual friend. I think that's much more realistic and probably far more enjoyable. So consider this: each friend has a topic that they're deeply knowledgeable about, whether that's health and fitness, whether that's art or religion. Tap into those interests. Start conversations about topics that you don't feel fully confident in. So growth doesn't always mean swapping out your friends. It can just be swapping out the conversations that you have with them. When you let go of your ego of wanting to feel like the smartest or the most capable in the room, you open up a space for immense learning. Ego will always be your biggest obstacle to growth. It fears vulnerability, it fears discomfort, and when you learn to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, that is when freedom and real confidence comes around. This shift in mindset allows you to take risks, allows you to ask questions that once you might have thought made you look stupid, you know, and that is what will help you constantly keep growing. So the company you keep really does matter, but more importantly, the kind of conversations you have with them, the kind of interactions that you have with them. And it doesn't always have to be physical people in your life. Like, social media is such a huge thing now that you can choose who you follow, you can choose who you subscribe to. Podcasts, webinars, online courses, programs, they're all opportunities for you to learn and get inspired by. So even if you don't know anyone personally, there's always opportunity to gain more knowledge and support. So the point of all this is to share that your identity is fluid and it is influenced by your environment. So if you're not happy with who you are now, you can easily change that by taking those actionable steps. It might be the hardest thing for you to step out of comfort, but it is the absolute most necessary thing if you want to see progress in yourself. So take a close look at your circle and figure out, are these people helping you move forward, or are they keeping you in the same place? You know, and maybe search for areas where growth is possible. What conversations have you not had with these people that might help you? And just constantly remind yourself, whenever you feel insecure or weak or inexperienced at something, you are feeling uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable means you're growing, okay? And that should bring peace to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video.